and welcome to the Buckets and Tea NBA show. I'm your host, Catherine Eicher. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. Joining me today, he is the host of the NBA Bit and Elite Fantasy Basketball. It's Mike Zakarian.
What's going on? It's very excited to be back. This is an honor not only to come on once, but a second time.
Aww.
Very excited.
That's so nice. I feel like, your YouTube channels have been growing more. I heard you got a shout out on the No Dunks pod the other day. Did you know that?
Oh, like recently?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. I miss it. I watch No Dunks almost every day, but the last 2 weeks have been a little hectic. I totally missed it.
Oh yeah, Jay Skeets gave you a shout out. I'll try and go through my YouTube watches and let you know if I can figure out what episode it was, because also this week they were eating pumpkin pie, and I was like, I don't want to watch a visual eating gag. It's too much for me.
That's tough.
It was a whole Costco pie. I was like, I can't handle
this. As he was carving that, and not to start this podcast by talking about another podcast, but as he was dividing it up with whipped cream of how much he was going to eat, I just was like in that portion of the show, I was like, I don't know. I feel bad for him. I feel bad that he has to do this. I was just thinking about what his stomach probably felt like a few hours later, But
they're doing it to themselves.
It's true. It is their own fault.
But you get to an age and it's you just can't eat certain things like that and feel fine.
No, there's very few things actually at the current age that I'm at right now that I can eat and still feel good after. Even eating healthy stuff, I don't think. Very rarely am I like, this is good. I feel great. I need a nap always.
Yeah. I don't think anyone over 30 drinks Mountain Dew.
No, no. Or if they do, they don't drink coffee. I feel like,
but that's so weird. Wait, are you revealing that you're that person?
No, I'm not. But I have been around those people recently, and I was like, okay, so maybe you were either replacing Mountain Dew or you're replacing coffee with Mountain Dew or alcohol with Mountain Dew. It's usually one or the other that I've seen. But I haven't had a Mountain Dew in a long time.
Yeah, I worked with this woman who she didn't drink coffee, but she would drink Pepsi. In the morning. So I'm in a cubicle. This is my office days. And you would hear that crack of the can, that first thing in the morning. And it was such a jarring sound.
Yeah.
To hear that early. And
it does make you think it's at least lunchtime.
Yeah. We had a kind, somewhat intervention where we were like, it's probably really bad for you to drink this much pop early in the morning. You might want to.
Probably, but
she ended up moving to Perrier.
Oh, to Perrier. I thought the way you started saying that, I thought you were going to say she ended up moving to Paris.
She
can't be in the office anymore. She ended up moving. She
needs to be around more judgmental people.
Yeah. My only hesitation on judging is that if I'm encouraging them to replace it with coffee, which is its own drug. I have a deep addiction with it. So I feel bad doing that, but you're right. The audible sensation of hearing a can pop open, I would immediately be like, I need to get my sandwich. If I had that. So I get it.
It's weird. Mike, you're my somewhat resident American on this show. Okay. I usually have Canadian guests. I've had Ben Golliver on this show. Maybe we'll get him back. We'll see. But I feel like I have a very Canadian topic for you to start the show. And that is because the Toronto WNBA team released the name and logo for the team. Now it got leaked. I don't know if you know this. It got leaked yesterday on the WNBA website, which is wow. Anyway, so then I guess they decided to roll out the rest of it. So we see the colors now. It is the Toronto Tempo. We've got a soft icy blue and a maroon. Some people have told me it's purple, but I'm seeing more of a maroon background. Mike, as an outsider, someone who isn't as emotionally invested in this as the rest of us, what do you think?
I want to know what time zone Kathy is working on, because this is now the 4th or 5th like major WNBA announcement that happens at like 6:45 Eastern time in the morning.
Yeah,
It's
really
not
early.
right. It feels like they've got a plan for it to roll out at like 1 p.m. and then somebody in the office is like, nah, let's get it out now, and then presses the button. So I'm like very surprised every time. I also love that it got revealed in like a drop down menu. I think that's so funny. I think that's so funny. That kind of felt like if there was a sitcom about the
It could have been
WNBA.
there for a while too, and then someone went, "Wait a second," and then took the screenshot.
Yeah, I think just ultimately this is showcasing the growth of the game, that we are now talking about the W when the games
This
aren't
is
happening. 'Cause
true.
that's when the most NBA chatter happens, is when the games aren't happening. So this is a good sign. This is moving forward. I don't I tempo I like a does is alliteration required when we're naming teams?
It's not required, but it's clearly what they were going for.
Yeah, and then like what if they're like the expansion draft, they get a bunch of big people and they're not playing, well, I
They're
guess
not they're the slowest team.
yeah. Like, what do you do then? Like, then I guess it's an ironic name, or I guess it doesn't. Can it be a slow tempo? I guess tempo doesn't mean it has to be fast.
Yeah, it's just it's basically Pacers
Yeah, you're right. It
in
is
terms of
basically,
its meaning. And
yeah,
it should have been the Indiana Fever name
right,
because
r-
I hate that name
right.
personally for
Yeah,
a team name. The Fever is a terrible team name.
yeah, fever, especially coming out of the COVID era, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that I'm excited Toronto got a team. There was such like a groundswell for it. I feel like we might have talked about the potential of it coming to Toronto the last
That
time I was on here.
probably, yeah.
So it's very cool to see it come to Toronto. I'm glad it went to a fan base that's already there, which is like an easy win, right? Tempo, I guess will have to grow on me. I just feel like it's going to be easy to make fun of that team name for a little while. But I don't know. What's the reaction north of the border, or my border, I guess,
Yeah,
where
I'm
you
getting
are?
a lot of mixed responses. I mean, I think the positive side is like, "Hey man, we have a team. I cheer for them no matter what." There's that. I think there's people that just straight up don't like it. There's people who are kind of like, "I like the colors but not the name," or "I
Mhm.
like the name but not the colors." So I think it's a mixed response overall. I'm also kind of mixed on it. Like I think like it's not a bad name, and I think it will grow on us over time. Like it'll just be the Toronto Tempo, and we won't
Yeah.
even think anything of it. I like the colors, but I
Mhm.
don't really associate the colors with like tempo, if that makes sense. Like they're kind
Sure.
of like muted, almost like relaxed colors, and tempo like I would have pictured like a gray with like a lime green,
Okay. Like something bright in there, right? Like
something
a
bright.
vibrant.
Yes, like a bright, vibrant color I would have associated with the word tempo personally.
Yeah. Although, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know how many team name reveals when they first come out. I don't know how many times I've like fist pumped and like, dude,
Like, yeah, they got it
they
right.
crushed it. Like, and
Yeah,
then
it's
maybe it's
so
like
hard.
right, like 10 years from now, we're like, oh, dude, tempo was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the colors when I just look at them.
Mhm.
And the company Roots is going to be doing the clothes, and I
Okay.
immediately thought like Roots is going to do an amazing Letterman jacket with
Oh,
these colors.
that's sick. That would be cool. That would be very
Yeah,
cool.
and so I'm looking forward to that part of it. Like I think they'll do a good job with it. And I like that it's different from other sports teams. Like you don't see any other like baby blue, maroon sports teams.
No. Are they the Tempo going to play? Is it Scotiabank? Is that the arena that
No,
the
so it's
Raptors
gonna
play in?
yeah, that is
Okay.
the arena the Raptors play in, but they don't own the team. It's
Okay. Separate
a
ownership.
separate, a different billionaire.
Do they already have like a location for where
Yeah,
games
there's
are?
a smaller arena here called Coca-Cola or something,
Mhm.
formerly the Rico Coliseum. Uh, I don't think that's gonna last very long because I think it's gonna be too popular to be
That
in a smaller arena.
That's a good problem to have if it's like filled every night.
Yeah, so I have a feeling or maybe like for certain games, like when Caitlin Clark's in town or something, like they'll have to move it to the bigger arena, like all the other cities have done. So,
well, whoever is in charge of the Coca-Cola, that's what it's called, the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I think it's called the Coca-Cola Coliseum. Once
think,
with the alliteration.
Yeah, it's too much alliteration. I think they should have somebody, maybe like in between the third and the fourth quarter, they should have somebody who is dressed up as a conductor, I think, and then like just do some like tempo, like I think we do something with that. Like when we need to raise up the tempo, just have somebody come out.
Is that the mascot? Just a conductor? A dancing conductor?
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know how much. What is the mascot? Like, what is the mascot for tempo?
I don't know. Could be anything.
It could be a conductor.
It could be like the Magic, where it's just like a thing, but the person underneath it is so good. People are like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I guess that's true. Like the Ellie the elephant is not a. I mean, I guess Ellie represents liberty, but it's not.
Do you know? I actually did some research on this. The story with why it's an elephant. Because apparently elephants were used to bring the Statue of Liberty across the Atlantic.
Do you know why I should know this? And this, I promise, this isn't a humble brag, pat on the back. I was quoted in a New York Times story last year on Ellie, on Ellie the elephant. And I think in the story it explained how Ellie came to be. But just if anybody thinks I'm, front running with the Liberty here, I've been an Ellie fan before Ellie was a viral sensation. Okay.
Yeah, we've been Ellie fans for a while. I will say, talking about team names, I think the New York Liberty have the perfect team name.
Yeah.
Like it's synonymous with the city. It represents the team very well. The colorway is there, like that teal copper, like nobody else does that color.
And now it's kind of an adjustment too. I don't think they were like that early Liberty days. I feel like it was a darker blue. That might be wrong.
They had some of the teal in there, but it was more orange, like the Knicks.
Yes, that's what
so they've moved away from the orange, and it's more the black, white, teal now.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, they did a good job, good marketing job. By the Liberty.
Yeah. All right, we should move on and talk about some NBA stuff. We've got the NBA Cup happening, and let's be honest, Joel Embiid didn't get himself into any trouble this week, so this is what we have as a topic.
Oh, has that been like a running gag the last month?
Well, I mean, it's like, oh, he's injured again. Oh, there's a team meeting. He can't show up on time. This team is spiraling down. This, that, and the other.
Yeah, it's like real. We should start putting the Sixers game on Bravo. It's like some real Housewives energy coming out of the Philadelphia 76ers. Although I don't know, is Real Housewives on Bravo if it's in?
Here?
Canada? Yeah.
We have Bravo.
You have Bravo. Okay. I didn't know if Bravo is international.
But I don't watch the Real Housewives. And I imagine there's like, whatever streaming service has it.
Yeah.
But I think Nick Nurse alone would be like a TLC reality show.
Yeah. I mean, listen, anybody that's got their own merch when they're working for a team that has merch, I think is somebody we should be following around. Remember those hats, right? That's when he was with Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Just
I bought one of those hats.
No.
I did.
It's like a ha, or like you're like, I want to support my guy, Nick.
Oh, I wanted to support my guy, Nick.
No,
in fairness to me, it was for charity.
Okay. Wait, those hats are for charity?
Yeah, when he did sell them, it was through his foundation, and it all went not all of it, but I imagine some of the proceeds went to his foundation.
All right, my apologies to
Nick. But I was disappointed that the hat didn't have that cutout in the back for my hair,
right?
My ponytail, and I was like, I can't wear this hat. My hair's too big for it. It's just and then it just poofs out the side. It doesn't make it doesn't make any sense for me. So I've never worn it.
All right, well, I take it back. I take back the Nick
Okay.
Nurse.
I need Nick Nurse to redeem himself just so I can sell the hat on eBay, and then someone will actually want it.
Trying to flip a profit on your
Yeah,
charitable donation.
or just getting some of it back.
Yeah.
And then I'll donate it to charity. Why not?
Yeah, the Sixers have been tough though. There's not a lot of like positives. I mean, Jared McCain, that's been the positive. The positive vibe has been McCain's been fun.
Yeah. But okay, we're in the quarterfinals of this NBA Cup. Do you care about the NBA Cup?
You know, I think I do. I like the I've enjoyed following like when we get towards the end of the group stage and trying to figure. I am originally from Massachusetts. I'm a Celtics fan.
Oh,
so like
you just lost everybody.
I know, but listen, guys, listen. You have to love what you love, okay? I'm not going to abandon them, even though I moved. And I don't care that they're not likable, okay? Peyton Pritchard is likable. I will die on that hill. But what was fun with that is that the Celtics, like, because they lost that game to Atlanta, we're like, okay, we're doing like Charlie Day meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, trying to figure out what algebra we need to do to get the Celtics into the wild card spot. So I kind of enjoyed that. I like, you know, the new floors, the courts or whatever. Who cares? Like, okay, cool. Yeah, congrats. But I like that they're just mixing it up a little bit. It's the most exciting like late November, December basketball we've had in a while outside of like the Christmas Day game. So I enjoy that. And like selfishly, I'm going to Vegas for the for the the semifinals and finals. So I'm excited to be there for that. So
as media.
Yeah. I think as long as we're going to be very generous with the word media, I think that if we're using it. But yeah, I am going out there to make some hashtag content is what I'll be doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear how it goes when I guess when we're both back. But
that's right.
Yeah, I don't know if I care or not about this tournament, but I'm gonna try to care because we're here.
But do you think if like Toronto won their first two games, you would have been a little bit like it would have been a bit spicier? You would have been a little more excited for that third and fourth game?
I would have been more excited for the games. That's true, but at the same time, it's like I'll say this, you know, making another WNBA comparison here. Like they have the Commissioner's Cup,
sure,
right? But in the WNBA, the Commissioner's Cup is a real like sign of the future, where it's like, you know, like it feels like a finals preview, or if it isn't a finals preview, it's at least a semifinals preview.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, right? Because it's been what was it, Liberty and Minnesota this past year, and Liberty and the Aces the year before, right? That makes total sense. The one that like I guess the pushback a little bit, I do think like this Houston team is like a young, fun team that seems to be kind of OKC of last year. Yeah. And they're like, oh, can they hang? You have like Luka and the Mavericks who just came off their finals run are in the quarterfinals.
They've won like their last 5 in a row or something like that.
They seem to have figured it out a little bit. You have like the corpse of what's left of the Golden State Warriors still hanging on. So I do think there's like some there's some of that there, but then the Atlanta Hawks are there. So you're right. There is still just kind of like a sprinkle of like, who knows?
Yeah, but can we talk about the Hawks for a second?
Sure.
Because they're 6th in the East right now. They're past the play-in.
Yeah. Well,
which is also ridiculous because the Timberwolves are like 11th or something, and they're a plus 500 team. Like we need to abolish these conferences already. Well, like it's getting ridiculous. But the Hawks, I think so far, dare I say, are a bit overachieving.
Yeah, I mean, they had a very impressive win last night against Milwaukee, and Milwaukee had the longest winning streak, I think, of 7 games going into that game, and to take that for Atlanta to take, I mean, granted, Milwaukee was on a back-to-back, but to win, Milwaukee was trying. It's not like they rested guys. So yeah, maybe I'm not giving Atlanta enough credit, but to credit my friend Steve, who is a member of the 89 Cavs comedy basketball podcast we do, he always calls the Eastern Conference the Church League. So like, yeah, you might be 6th in the East, but like, where are you in the West? And I think there is a lot of truth to that. Although I was like looking at the West recently, And like ultimately, yes, I do think like the level of talent is a little bit, there's more like parity over there of like a higher level of talent. But it's also I feel like the West we might be overrating a little bit. Like you look at it, it's like
Okay.
they're all kind of 11 and 12 and 8 outside of, OKC, who we all had already decided was going to be the best team in the West. And then Houston. Houston's like number 2. Memphis is so like I think there's a lot of parity over there as well, but I'm not going to plant my flag saying the East is better than the West. That is not what I'm doing, but I think it might be closer.
If the Timberwolves were an Eastern Conference team, they'd be like, here, let's pull up the schedule. Hold on. Let me pull up the standings here 1 second. I should have had this up already.
No. I do think you're right. Like Minnesota would immediately be a top 4 team in the East, I think.
Yeah, they're 11th right now, and they're 11 and 10.
And 11th in the East is probably 7 and 11 or 9 and 11, 9 and 12.
9 and 15. The Pistons.
Yeah.
So right now the Bucks are 11 and 10, and they're 5th.
Yeah.
In the East. So they would be tied for 5th. And right now, if they were an Eastern Conference team, and right now they're 11th. And if you wanted to give them even slightly more grace, if they were an Eastern Conference team, they'd have an Eastern Conference schedule.
Right.
So then maybe they'd have like one more win. So that would make them 4th.
No, you're absolutely
it's just insane.
I'm okay with abolishing conferences. I would like that. I'm fine with that. I like that take.
Yeah, but we have and speaking of the Timberwolves, I thought this was a team that could possibly win the NBA Cup. Like I thought they were going to like really go for it, but I guess they've had some struggles or enough struggles. We're not really talking about it enough probably, but
yeah, it seems like the last couple of games have turned it on a little bit. And the Knicks were like this too. I don't know if we put enough like emphasis on a team making a massive shift, not only in like on-court stuff, but culture stuff so soon before the season, right? It's not like this happened around the draft in April or even before Summer League where you have like time to get your rosters together. This is like 2 weeks before the season started. And they were like, Karl Anthony Towns, you've been here from the beginning. Deuces. We're bringing Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, who's already said he wants to leave. Like,
I know it's been so. I thought he was going to have a breakout year. I couldn't have been more wrong. But he had the opportunity to have a breakout year.
Yeah, and again, I wonder if it's still too early to like judge them. Like we've seen there's like really highs of Julius Randle when he's on your team and lows. And I do think if they're able, Anthony Edwards seems to be charismatic and likable enough to kind of like make anything work. He spent the last 2 weeks calling everybody out on that team. And like normally, if you had asked me to bet on what would happen after that, I would say they would have cratered. Like, I don't know how often a 23-year-old speaking up is the right thing for a team. And it seems to have worked. Everybody seems to buy in with them. So maybe it's too early for Minnesota to just be like nervous,
Yeah, they've got time, I think. And, who knows if they end up trading Dante, who they might get instead.
True.
He's on my fantasy team. This is one of the people I've been struggling with.
Yeah, keep him on the bench, I think, for now. I think that would be the move.
Yeah, there's like games where he only has 3 points for the whole game.
Yeah, and
then the next game he'll have 15, and then you're like, there's hope here.
I know. And it has him and Naz Reid both have been kind of inconsistent, which is, the reigning 6th man of the year. And they just haven't gotten consistent minutes, or they've gotten consistent minutes, but not consistent play from those guys. But we need what's Spicy Ragu? No, what's his name? What's his nickname? I forget Dante's nickname. Something Ragu.
Spicy Ragu.
It's something Ragu. It might be the big Ragu. It might be the big Ragu. I don't know. But yeah, we need some more Dante love.
Yeah. I still need him, need him to turn it around. But your New York Knicks, they're doing well. I picked them to be in the finals, and then they had that blowout loss to start the season, and I was like, I'm out.
you waved the white flag right away.
Immediately. I was just like, no one wins a championship and starts a season like this.
Yeah.
And I think I'm right about that much. But they've turned things around.
Karl-Anthony Towns has been awesome. Like, he's been so good. I believe as of right now, they're the number 1 offense in the league, which is, that's not usually what I
Crazy
think.
for a Tibbs team.
That's what I'm saying. That's not
Yeah.
normally this is we're living in the upside down right now where they are terrible at defense, but really good at offense. And Mikal Bridges is still like 100% not comfortable yet in this new role. And I know everybody was like, "Oh, he looks funny shooting the ball." Like, he'll figure it out. Like, he's professional
another one of
basketball.
my fantasy players.
Oh man, you're having a tough
I'm having a tough
start.
time this year.
But I think they're going to be. I still trust Thibodeau. I love Jalen Brunson. Like, I still trust them to be very difficult in the playoffs. That being said, I think the Celtics and really Cleveland, and honestly, like, I know they just beat the pants out of Orlando. I think Orlando is going to be like really, really tough when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like, the Celtics really do look like the reigning champions,
Yeah.
and they look like they're poised to go back to back, which we haven't had in a really long time. I will say though, like, you're right about Cleveland, you're right about Orlando as well. I think with those 3 teams, the Knicks, Magic and Cavs, it's going to come down to the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not right now, and it's only December, picking any of those teams to beat Boston in a series.
No, you're just trying to avoid them as long as you can.
You're trying to avoid them, and one of them's gonna see them in the second round.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
your regular season is very important.
I totally agree. I think Orlando matches up with them in kind of a fun way. And Orlando is almost like the inverse of what Indiana was last year, where I used to describe the Indiana Pacers like in a baseball term, like it was like facing a knuckleball pitcher where you're used to somebody throwing it 100 miles an hour at you. And then all of a sudden you have someone throwing this like thing that like floats like a wiffle ball or whatever. And I feel like that must be what it's like playing a team like Indiana when they were like they were last year, but Orlando this year, where it's not normal basketball. Like Orlando are all these like long, big dudes that play slow and just like beat you up for 48 minutes. And I wonder if it takes teams a little bit of time to adjust to that. I still think they're probably too young to actually take down the Celtics, but Franz Wagner looks awesome, and they're still winning games without Paolo. Like, Paolo was looking like an MVP, and he goes down. You're like, oh, Orlando's screwed. And then the German brothers, Franz and Mo, just
maybe Franz will end up an all-star.
I mean, right now, like, I think he's averaging something like 28 points since Paolo went down. It's nuts.
I had him on my fantasy team last year.
We need your last year's team, I think.
We do. I won last year.
Did you?
I did.
You're the reigning champ?
Yeah, I was playing against, well, there's 12 of us total.
Okay.
Playing against 11 people.
I thought you were about to say was playing against 12-year-olds.
Listen, I would trust them to be good at fantasy.
That's true.
But okay, going back to this NBA Cup, which decidedly is less exciting. But, we've got, the Atlanta-New York matchup happening again. This is something I was hoping would be a stronger rivalry. But the Hawks have blown it. But do you think any of that fire is still there?
I think Trae Young can be a villain no matter what the stakes are. So I do think he can still bring that fire. I am way too selfish about this, though. And I don't want to see Atlanta or Orlando in Vegas. And I just don't. I want to watch the Knicks play the Bucks. Like, I want Giannis out there. I want Tibbs yelling, "Arsh!" Like, I want all that crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not into I do love Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks. That's fun. I'm sure Trae would be kind of fun to see in person, but I don't. Come on, let's be real. I might as well call me ESPN. I'm not interested in talking about Atlanta and Orlando.
And on the West, who are you looking forward to seeing on the West?
See, that's the beauty of the West, right? Like in that Dallas OKC game, I either get Shea, Chet in some crazy outfit on the bench, I'm sure. Jalen Williams, who's like the most likable guy in the NBA. Or if they lose to Dallas, you get Luka, Derek Lively, who's a lot of fun, Kyrie. So I kind of don't care who wins. I think OKC wins that game, but I'm excited either way. And then same thing, like no one's mad to see Steph Curry play basketball, although it's like little rumblings that Steph might be a little bit more dinged up than
then he's letting on.
Yeah, he's missing tonight's game, and there was some concern that it might be a lot of that moving forward. And Draymond looks like he's going to miss some time too. So Golden State, we might be talking
They
about it.
started off so well, but now they're not
Yeah.
in a good spot. They've lost their last 5, which is
Yeah.
bad. Although I wasn't too worried about them because I'm like, there was like a really bad call at the end of that Denver game.
That
And
Denver
it's
was
just
rough.
like, at least they were losing by a close margin
Sure.
without Draymond Green. And I think with one of those games without Steph,
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Steph missed one
right? So
recently.
it's
Yep.
like you kind of look at that and you're like, okay, this isn't like symbolic of who the team is.
Right.
Or when you see a team like the Lakers and it's like, oh, they've lost their last 2 in a row, but they lost one of those games by 40 points.
Oh my God. The Lakers are a mess.
That is more concerning, right? So it's like, I don't know. I love Steph Curry enough that I just keep holding out hope that they're going to figure it out. I think he's, as they say, the best show in sports. And this is somebody I'm like, oh, it's almost like the playoffs feel like they're missing something to me when he isn't part of it.
I totally agree. He's like this. I was gonna say the circus, but I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that like everybody, like it's in town, you need to see it. Like I want to watch Steph play, and I don't know how much longer we get. Peak Steph. Not that he's shown signs of like falling off or anything.
But if he's injured, for the love of God, rest him now. Like,
I know.
Seriously, what are we doing here?
Seriously, can we talk the Lakers though, just for a second?
Yeah.
I am, I think, exactly 3 weeks older than LeBron. And
did you you're just turning 40?
I just turned 40. Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday. I turned 40 in October.
Oh, look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us.
84 babies.
Right, but we aren't playing 82 basketball games a year.
No.
And so I think like it's kind of nuts that everyone's like, oh, LeBron's really slipping. No shit, he's 40. That's 100 in basketball years. Like, yeah, the fact that the Lakers are relying on LeBron to be LeBron of 30. Like, can you imagine physically if anybody was relying on you to be what you were at 30?
Yeah, 10 years later.
Yeah. I'd be letting down everyone. like I can't. I get so mad because we're celebrating my birthday with some friends this weekend, and they were like, "Oh, we should go to a couple of different spots." No, I'm 40. We're going to one spot. I'm not doing multiple locations.
I had 2 locations for my birthday, but very few people made it to the second location.
Yeah.
But that was only because I had like my friend's like condo room. And then I found out later that they were closing it at midnight. Like those are the condo rules.
Oh.
Like the party room. So then I was like, okay, we need somewhere else to go.
But see,
that was that was a mistake on my part.
But that wasn't a planned second location, right? That was just spur of the moment vibes. We got to go to a new spot.
Not spur of the moment.
Okay.
But it was, I can't change the location. I can't change. I can't plan a whole new party now, kind of thing.
Right. That makes sense.
So Comedy Bar here in Toronto. Shout out to Comedy Bar. That's like a stand-up club here. I emailed the owner and asked him if we could turn one of the rooms into a dance floor after the last show.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we did that, and so that's where we went. And then I had some comics like meet me there as well because we're degenerates who stay up really late.
That's great. That's
yeah. So we had so that was cool. So we had like my gathering at the condo, and then like had a dance party for people who had energy to dance.
That sounds fun. That's a good 40th birthday. Good job.
Thank you. What are your plans? I want to know more specifically your plans.
So I was in Massachusetts, where my family is from, for the Thanksgiving Turkey Day holiday, and so I celebrated with my family while I was home, and a couple of friends who still live in Massachusetts, where we did Top Golf. Okay. Do you know Top Golf?
No.
It's like almost like arcade golf, where you actually like go to this huge place, you hit a golf ball, but it's like there's like these tracker things and there's fun games, and
it's like a virtual like golf, like you hit like a screen and then like it tells you how far it went.
So you actually don't hit a screen though. You like hit it out into they've got like a big, almost like a driving range.
Okay.
Almost like a driving range, but it feels more of like a bar, like you're in a bar vibe situation, hitting it outside. And it was fun. So we did that with my family, and then went to this brewery afterwards called Trillium, which is like right outside Boston. So that was fun.
Ontario's flower. Trillium.
Is it really?
Yeah.
There we go. And then this weekend, I'm just finding a spot in Brooklyn. And I don't know why it sounded like I put a T at the end of Brooklyn, and just hanging out there.
Yeah,
With some friends.
that's a great 40th also.
Yeah, that'll
2
be nice.
parties.
Two,
Not 2
yeah,
locations, but 2 parties.
2 parties.
Arguably 2 locations, and that is
Yeah,
2 completely different cities.
7 days apart though. Like I needed a full a full
Needed a
week.
good nap. Yeah. So going back to LeBron, he's about to be 40. Can't
Yeah,
wait to see what his birthday celebrations are.
I think
But
it'll be fun.
you're right. Like he's, he's superhuman in a way that we have maybe taken for granted, particularly the Lakers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because this I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, this is it. This is just, this is the end. This is the end. I don't think the Lakers are just going to tease us with the possibilities of doing something, and it's not going to go that far because frankly, they lack the depth, I think, is their main issue.
100%.
Right? It's always been this whole like around the margins thing. Like they traded so much of their depth away for Westbrook a few years ago, and they traded a bunch of their depth away for Anthony Davis before that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like they've been trying to catch up in that respect for so long, and there's only so much they can do, and now the league's made it even harder to try and figure that out.
Yeah, and I think what will be fascinating, like one, I don't think there's any move that makes the Lakers contenders, right? Like, maybe from like a 10 seed to an 8 seed, maybe they could do something like that. But I don't think there's anything that's going to be like, whoa, watch out for the Lakers. I think what will be really interesting though, because they do have some picks that they can move now that like, I wonder how much, what's the right word? Like how much pull LeBron still has, right? Because like LeBron in Cleveland, every single year would be like, get rid of this pick. Go bring me Kyle Korver or like whoever, right? and then bang, Kyle Korver arrives. Like, I don't know if he could do that anymore. Like, because again, he's our age. Like, and I wonder if Jeannie Buss and Rob Lowe Palinka, like if they are just like, hey man, like come on, we can't mortgage the next 5 years so that you can win 45 games instead of 42 games. Like that's not going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
And poor D'Angelo Russell, just like once again, I wish poor D'Angelo, he's fine. But like for 7 straight years in trade rumors, just like the second we hit December.
Oh yeah, that's true. I also heard a Brandon Ingram rumor who was traded to the Pelicans, part of the Anthony Davis trade.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of odd.
I saw that quote from Brandon Ingram or his agent, another Brandon Ingram, but that Brandon Ingram would like to play for a competitive team. And I just thought that like he also wants a max contract. And I just be like, Brandon,
he's not getting a max contract anywhere.
Well, and if he is, it's not on a competitive team. Like you pick one or the other.
Yeah, like the Wizards might give you a max contract.
Exactly. Yeah, I wonder Ingram to the Lakers would be kind of interesting, but like, what are why? I guess for the picks, like the Pelicans would do it for the picks that they could get from the Lakers, but that's another team, man. Poor New Orleans,
I know.
just a mess.
And they've been this mess since drafting Zion, really. And I think people get too over obsessed with the whole weight issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I think if he were, because he did lose a bunch of weight, but also it's like if this were a skinny man, like he'd still be dealing with these injuries. Like I don't think these injuries are like directly related to his weight. I mean, there are plenty of skinny players in the NBA that have chronic injury related issues. Like I don't really buy that part of it, but it's a shame that he hasn't been able to be healthy for a full season.
Yeah, and I'm not smart enough to know like what causes what, but it doesn't, like this injury specifically, it's like his hamstrings again, like both hamstrings were pulled or whatever this season. And you're right, like it's hard to compare these injuries to the previous ones because you're right, like he came into camp this year at a completely different like weight set than he's been in the last few years, and yet we're still here. So I feel bad. I love him. He's like one of my favorite guys to watch play basketball. Like it's like nothing else that you see game to game, He's just kind of this own little like wrecking ball that just plows, and no matter the angle, no matter where he started, he gets to the same spot every time. It's just so fun to watch. So it sucks that this keeps happening. I also feel bad for Willie Green, who's the coach of the Pelicans, because I think he's a good coach. And I'm sure he ends up losing this gig because of, just everybody's been hurt. Like from day one, everybody's been hurt.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a fall guy. And I don't know what they're going to do in terms of like, oh, are they going to blow this up or not? Because I feel like, well, maybe as a complete outsider, right? Like never been to New Orleans. I'm not getting a sense that there's this like pressure that they have to like do XYZ move. It's like,
yeah,
I know.
I think that's right. I think I'm blanking on the ownership. I'm pretty sure the team that owns the Pelicans also owns the Saints. And I'm blanking on the family name now, and I feel like I should know it. But you're right. Like the fan base.
David like Griffin or something?
Oh, great. He's the
or he's the GM.
Like the GM or president of basketball, whatever the title is.
Yeah.
Benson? I don't know. That's probably not right. And I'm not going to look it up. So we're just going to, but I agree with you. I don't think there's a ton of pressure from like the fan base, but they also like traded away some assets, to get DeJounte Murray too. That's like the other thing. It's not even like they're poised to rebuild right away. That's just like a weird, they're in a tough spot. They're in trouble. They're in trouble.
Yeah, they're in trouble. And they made, one too many bad moves. I mean, it just goes to show you how much like luck you need 100%. As well when building like a winning team, right? But in any case, speaking of building a future winning team, let's move on to our Raptors homer moment, shall we?
Let's go.
Yeah. So, I consider you a New Yorker. Do you consider yourself a New Yorker?
I do. Yeah, but with like Boston blood. I've been in New York for 10 years now. And
you're a Boston sheep wearing New York clothes.
I am. I also think because I stayed in New York through COVID, I get like an extra 5 to 10 years.
Oh yeah, because that's just crazy.
It was insane. So I feel I love it here. I do love it here, and I like when the Knicks are good because it's just like more fun to be in the city. But I am like never rooting for them. I'm still rooting for the Celtics.
Okay, fair. Well, I asked you about that because I want to talk about RJ Barrett. I imagine you watched a lot of Knicks games with RJ. And, we had that big blockbuster. I'm calling it blockbuster, maybe not ESPN, but, we had that big trade last year, right, with OG Anunoby. RJ has been killing it this year, but particularly at home. He has significantly better stats at home than he does on the road. Was this something you noticed when he was in New York?
No, I didn't notice it at all. Honestly, I know the thing that I noticed about RJ was just that he was very streaky. Like even in his time in New York, where he'd have this like 2 to 3 week run, he'd play really good basketball. Everybody would get excited again, and then maybe he'd fall off a little bit. But I was so excited he just got this fresh start in Toronto. I just think he needed it. I think sometimes you just get, whether in basketball or just like in life, you get like stuck in this rut and you just kind of need almost to be like snow globed a little bit and shook up and just reset again. And clearly like he feels better there. I feel the vibes just feel good. And maybe that's like part of him playing better at home, that he's just like more comfortable there. I also think that might've had something to do. Like you and I were playing 8 to 10 minutes for the Raptors for a couple of weeks there, where they just had freaking everybody was hurt.
Everyone was down. Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, oh, Jacoby Walter's back. And they're like, oh, just kidding. He's out again. Like they were just, everybody was in and out.
Yeah.
So that might've been part of it too, where we're like, hey, RJ, we need you to be Michael Jordan for a couple of games. He's like, that's not who I am. But he's been fun. I like low key, not to make this the Raptors next 20 minutes. They have been like my favorite league pass team.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I'm a big RJ fan, and I love Scotty Barnes. I was so mad that he got hurt as soon as he did, and then I was like, oh, what's he gonna look like when he comes back? And he's been freaking awesome. He just came back.
Yeah, with the glasses. I'm not calling them goggles. I feel like they deserve to be called glasses.
I like it.
Right? Because they're not really a goggle.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not full. It feels like Warby Parker designed them. Like it feels.
Yeah, like they're nice.
Yeah.
I was really happy because I thought they were gonna be like Michael Phelps, like
Yeah.
goggles.
Honestly, listen, I hope Scotty's listening to this, and I want to, Scotty, go back, listen to the segment about Nick Nurse. Forget those hats, man. You should start merchandising these glasses. Get the Scotty shades.
The Scotty shades.
Come on.
Shady Barnes? No,
Shady
not so much.
Shady Barnes is nice. That's good. Shady Barnes is nice.
Shady Barnes. I have some fun stats for you about Scotty. So before the glasses, I'm not going to say goggles. Before the glasses,
okay,
he averaged 19 points, 7.8 rebounds, 6 assists. Since the glasses, since returning with the glasses, we've got an average of 23.6 points a game, 8.9 rebounds, and 7.9 assists.
Wow.
He's up in all 3 of those categories since he can't take them off.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. Do you think he just wears them?
I think he should just wear them.
That's so interesting. Like, I wonder. I know Grady Dick missed the last couple of games, but I think he's playing tonight.
He's still. Is he playing tonight?
I think so. I think I just saw.
He's on my fantasy team too.
I think so because again, I'm a fantasy sicko. I had something pulled up. Yeah, he's playing. Right. And it's a calf injury. Like, should he come back with a calf sleeve? Like, is this going to be the new, like, Jakob Poeltl's out tonight with an illness? Does he come back with like I don't, like a tissue, a handkerchief? I don't know.
There's too many dick sleeve jokes here.
That's true. That is
true. I just refreshed my fantasy screen. It doesn't say, but anyway, he's on my IL right now. But this team, I've been calling this the enjoy the process era.
Yeah.
Because we are enjoying the process and I think it's really fun. RJ, it concerns me that you say he was streaky for weeks at a time. Because now I'm like, ooh, are we encountering a streaky few weeks? Still too early to tell, but I hope not. I hope he's found himself. I will say he looks like he's having fun out there.
He does. There was that great clip. I want to say it was 2 or 3 weeks ago of him on the bench, and I forget who he was engaging with, but he had either thrown the ball out of bounds, and there was during a timeout, either threw the ball out of bounds or missed somebody who was wide open. And it was this very funny moment where he like grabbed the guy by the shoulder and he was basically like, I'm sorry. It was like this very genuine but funny moment. And I was like, man, RJ seems happy. It also feels different. Like he's super aggressive right now. Like when he's attacking the rim, it's not like he's just shooting 45% from 3 and that's why he's streaking right now. Like he feels very comfortable in the offense that they're running. It's fun. Yeah, he's fun to watch. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think, the impression that Coach Darko has given me is that he's not really holding anyone back in terms of being like, this is your role, this is your role. He kind of seems like he's just telling everyone to just go for it.
Yeah.
And I think for these young guys, that's probably very freeing.
Well, Grady Dick's the perfect example of that, right? Like, I did not see this. Like, I did not see this happening for Grady Dick. He has been awesome. Like, he's been so good for the year 1 to year 2 leap. Like, you have to be so excited with what you've seen from him. And I mean, we haven't even really seen Emmanuel quickly do anything because he just can't stay healthy this season so far. But
the few games he did play, he looked really good.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like, again, this is what like Detroit. I feel like you and Detroit are like the Spider-Man memes right now, where you're not trying to win games right now. You just want to leave this season being like, we know exactly what we have with our core and we can build from here. Not necessarily like fighting tooth and nail to be the 9 seed. And then, who cares? Like, you just want to know, oh, Scotty, RJ, IQ, Grady Dick, all of these guys work well together. And then let's grow from there.
Yeah, I agree. And thank God the Pistons started winning some games because it was just getting sad. They are 11th, though. They've lost their last 3. So hopefully I'm not speaking too soon.
No, but even if they like, Cade looks great. The JB Bickerstaff looked at the roster and there was like, oh, Jaden Ivey, I guess, should play basketball.
You know who was on my fantasy team last year when I won? Cade.
And he played most last year, right? I'm like confused.
He did play most of last year. Yeah. And people were like really like down on him, but I was like, this guy averages like 20 points and like 5 assists a game.
No, he's been
I don't know
great.
why even last year people were so. He did turn the ball over a bit. I will say
he
that,
still
but
does that a lot.
it's it was his third year, but it was really his second year.
They were playing the Celtics last night, and again, I'm not comparing him to Luka like they're the same guy, but they've got like a similar build in the way that they play a little bit too. And so like he can just kind of get to his spots because he's just bigger than whoever you throw on him. And I think that's it's never bad to be big.
Yeah.
Just don't clip that. I guess I felt weird. Never bad to be bad. I don't know. I felt like there could have been a better way to phrase that.
Probably. Are you a shorter guy?
Oh, 5'7", baby. 5'7".
That's why I feel like that's why you felt that comment.
I know. Yeah, because it was me being like, right? But it's okay to be small too.
See, I'm taller. Like I'm 5'10".
I'm so jealous.
So, you know.
It's
like
so cool.
the world is just short to me. But I'm also not a skinny woman, so I really, I stick out. But whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm learning to live with it. Okay. It's time for a hottie highlight of the week.
Oh, I can't
wait. I was just gonna do a fun Kyle Lowry edition because there's two really fun Kyle Lowry moments this week. Shockingly, because he's on such a, sad team. However, someone I did not expect entered the chat today. Okay, so we've got three options for you. Okay. Number one, Jimmy Butler being in Toronto, right, playing against the Raptors, visited Kyle Lowry Road, a road I wasn't even confident existed. Okay, I've not been to said road, but he visited Kyle Lowry Road. That's how close they are. Okay.
Wow.
That is hottie highlight number one. Hottie highlight number two is you mentioned him, Jared McCain from the 76ers, attempting to do a TikTok with Kyle, and Kyle, as the old man that he is, didn't know what to do. He was having fun, but he didn't know what to do. Very fun moment.
This is like me anytime I do anything comedy related in New York these days. That I'm the Kyle Lowry and the comedy community is Jared McCain.
Yeah, they're all like clipping lav mics to themselves and setting up the whole TikTok setup, and you're just like, can I just like walk on the stage? Yeah. The third option, he entered the chat unexpectedly. Andrea Bargnani.
It's this one.
Former Raptor and Nick revisiting his, what I would call nauseating Primo pasta commercials. And the reason why I say that is because, Mike, they were non-stop. I don't know how much ad space Primo pasta bought. It was insane how frequently this commercial was on the air. And he, Andrea Bargnani rising from the ashes. He's got a bit of gray in the beard now, and he's like, oh, I already know what you're talking about.
It's so good. It was so good. I am not a Raptors fan. I don't live in Toronto. Was not aware. It was all over my feed.
Today?
Yeah. I saw it everywhere. I love it. I'm in on this. Listen, I don't think Jimmy Butler played 3 games in a row, and then you could be a part of this.
Oh, here we go.
I just like play basketball, Jimmy. The Kyle Lowry, Jared McCain, that was going to be my pick because I like resonate with that. Also, I'm just like, I love that old sport men heads have to deal with Jared McCain right now. And I love that he's balling. And so just everybody kind of has to shut up if you have a bad take. It's like, well, he's the only bright spot you got. So I'm so happy about Jared McCain. But the Bargnani thing, 100%. It has to be that. It's so good. It's so good.
I had no idea he would come back into our lives in such a way. I remember a few years ago, he was on Instagram, and I don't think he is anymore. I checked today. I don't think he has his Instagram profile anymore. No, I'm not black. I didn't engage. But he would click on it. I remember our buddy Ennis sent me a link to it, and his bio was very long, and it was like, DJ, Europe, influencer, tech guy, this, that, and not once did he mention the NBA.
Did he have a crypto coin?
It was so funny. I was like, why do you think you have all these followers?
That is great. Maybe he's like, I don't want to rest on my laurels, Like he's trying to innovate and create. He needs to be a new man. He needs to drop some beats.
Listen, if you're a millionaire and you need a DJ for your future, wedding or other parties, Andrea Bargnani will DJ for you.
Wait, speaking of that just reminded me. I was at this is the most New York thing I'm going to say. This is probably like 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember why it was happening. I was invited to some party, and the person DJing the party was Baron Davis. Like a house party.
Oh, wow.
Baron Davis. I remember just being like, cool record, man, but can we talk about the We Believe Warriors? Like, that's what I want to hear.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the most New York thing I think I could say.
No, that's pretty. Is he from New York originally?
I don't even think so. Although
he was just chilling in New York because he
thought he was from California. I thought he was from like SoCal. Let's see.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's from Los Angeles. There we go.
Okay, so he's just chilling in New York.
Yeah.
DJing. How nice was this house?
This house was ridiculous.
There it is.
On the floor level there was an indoor pool.
Okay, that's insane.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know if that person lives there anymore. It's like a friend of a friend. And it was, you walked in, it was like 3 stories up. They had this like courtyard area. But I don't want to be at a party, an indoor party with a pool. That's another take I have as someone who's getting older. I don't need people figuring out, like, do we go in the pool or not? Like, I don't.
You're like, I'm not dressed for this.
Yeah, there's food in the other room. The food's too close to the pool. I don't need it. Baron Davis is enough. I feel like
I have to say that's the wealthiest problem I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, like I can't stress enough. If they were checking bank accounts, I would not have been allowed in there. Not saying I swim in those pools, for a terrible phrase to say.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there. Mike, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate having you on the show again. Let us know again what you're up to and where we can find you on the internet.
Yeah, thanks. Seriously, thanks for having me on. I really enjoy the show. I appreciate you. I appreciate you Canadians allowing an American to come talk to you, because normally when you bring an American on, it's bad. But I appreciate it, and maybe this is too. But
and it'll only get worse. But anyway.
I do a show Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's called the NBA Bit. It's on YouTube. It's a live stream. It's at 9 a.m. Eastern, but you can also check it in podcast form. Also, I forgot to plug this too. Just started co-hosting this new show called Hoop Sense with Trayvon Edwards. It's on the Count the Dings YouTube channel, their network. And we're doing it in studio. We're like exciting. In a pod. It's so sick. It's the coolest. So shout out Trey. Go check that out. It's called Hoop Sense. That drops it's like every other week. That comes out. So we've had 2 episodes drop this season, 3rd one coming out next week. So yeah, that's it. Those are the things.
And your fantasy stuff.
Oh my God. It was not, but you're right. I had one more thing. I also have a fantasy basketball channel called Elite Fantasy Hoops with Mike Zakarian. We probably do like 3 or 4 shows over there a week. And that's like whether you're on like a redraft league, like a Yahoo or ESPN, wherever you play, or if you're more into daily fantasy or picks or whatever, we kind of cover everything over there.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks so much. Thank you everyone for listening and tuning in. Feel free to like this episode, subscribe, all that good stuff. One day I will remember to say that off the top, but here we are. Thank you again, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.